Hi guys, thank you for joining today's session on the privacy innovation. So we will officially kick off our session on at 6:30. So if any of your +1, any of your classmates connections don't know where is the entrance of today's session, please feel free to share the link of the Zoom webinar to your friends. So please wait for 2 more minutes. We will officially kick off today's session in 2 minutes. So also in the right down bottom corner, you can see our chat-in QR code there. So feel free to have your phone with you and scan the QR code to check in to start your first step of your journey for the tech immersion here. Thank you guys. We will officially kick off today's session in 1 minute. So if you have any classmates, any connections, any +1 don't know today's entrance, please feel free to share the link of today's webinar to your friends. Also on the right-hand bottom, you can see the QR code here. Feel free to check in. Also, you will be one step further to get the certification at the very end of the tech immersion. Just 1 minute to go. Feel free to check in. If you have any friends don't know today's entrance of the webinar, feel free to share the link with them. So now we will officially welcome our speaker, Yongjun from the Privacy Innovation Lab to kick off today's session here. Thank you, Yongjun. Hand over to you.
Thank you, Abigail. Can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can definitely
cool.
hear you.
Sure. Thank you all for coming and participating in this TikTok Tech Immersion. And thank you, Abigail, and all my dear colleagues for organizing this wonderful event. Let me very briefly introduce myself. My name is Yongjun. I'm currently a research scientist working in TikTok, focusing on the research of privacy innovation technologies. Previously, I worked in Nanyang Technological University in a research center there. I spent 3 years as a research fellow, developing various different kinds of privacy enhancing technologies. And apart from doing research, I like to see new technologies being translated into real products, and which is why I decided that I need to join the industry and explore the real use cases of privacy technologies, and that is why I joined TikTok. So today's agenda will be sharing with you what has been done for TikTok Privacy Innovation Lab. Previous slides, please. I'll briefly talk about what Privacy Innovation Lab has been doing in TikTok. So basically, PI Lab, Privacy Innovation Lab, has been trying to explore the next frontier of privacy enhancing technologies, research into the theory, and then try hard to translate the cutting edge technologies into real product and really deploy it on a global scale. Since TikTok is really a very popular application worldwide, we have billions of users from being used around the world in hundreds of countries. And we try to advance technologies and then reach out to research communities and contribute our research innovations, and then all together with our partners from both academic and industry, build a more privacy-friendly digital world. And the next slide, please. So here is today's agenda. In today's sharing, I would like to very briefly discuss what is privacy and why privacy has become increasingly important to every single one of us. And then that would motivate us to discuss what is privacy enhancing technology, what are these PET technology in brief can bring us, and how this kind of privacy enhancing technology can be used to enhance our privacy in the digital world. And then I will share with you one of the initiatives that has been initiated by TikTok and especially from our research of our Privacy Innovation Lab. And then which is PETACE, that is a cutting edge open source cryptographic library so that every single of us can try out this open source library and then build very innovative privacy enhancing features for not just mobile application, but also computer application, etc. We will have a very brief demo of how this open source library can be installed on your own computer and have a very brief demo of how this can be done to build very simple application. And then we will end this sharing with a Q&A session. And in that session, you can ask any kind of questions regarding today's sharing. Next slide, please. Yeah. So let me very briefly go through what is privacy. So privacy is really a very big umbrella term, and different people will have different definitions of privacy. So here I would like to just very briefly go over some of the potential definitions here. So of course, there is a subcategory of privacy called data and information privacy, which essentially covers the collection and handling of digital data. And privacy is also related to territorial privacy, where companies would like to limit the ability to intrude into the offices. And for individuals, you will also would like to have your own territorial privacy, like you don't want any strangers to come into your home without your own permission. And this is kind of like the territorial privacy. And it is also related to communication privacy, which primarily deals with postal and telephone and emails, etc., where you don't want your private information communicating through the postals, through your telephones, through your emails being wiretapped by any strangers or potential adversaries. So these are all very broad and different categories of privacy. And this is by no means an exhaustive list. And yeah, different people may add in different flavors of privacy. So really, privacy is a very broad term and umbrella term. So as you can imagine, since this term is so broad and it kind of involves different aspects of our daily life. So broad as a term it is, so you can imagine this would be a very important concept to be discussed in real life. Next slide, please. Yeah. So let me further elaborate why privacy is important. So the United Nations actually declared that privacy as a fundamental human right. So it relates to different aspects of human rights. So every single one would like to have some sort of personal autonomy. So you want to control yourself. You want to have control of yourself. You want to express yourself freely. You want to control your life. As privacy is definitely a very important part of your personal autonomy. And privacy also relates to human dignity. So you can imagine that if you are a prisoner also, then you don't really have full control of your privacy. So really, privacy relates to human dignity in the real human society. And privacy itself is closely related to freedom of expression, where you can imagine in the democratic world where if you don't really have privacy, then you don't have full freedom of speech. So when you want to express your opinions, you want to have some sort of privacy, and otherwise you don't have you won't be able to speak freely to express your opinions. And increasingly, personal privacy is being part of the legal legal concerns. So in Singapore, you would have in news headlines, you often seen the abbreviations like PDPA and PDPC. So basically, PDPA lays out the foundation of personal data protection in Singapore, and PDPC, the Personal Data Protection Commission, is the primary data protection office in Singapore. So whenever you see some headlines in the news where some companies have data breach, and PDPC and PDPA will come into place where they would regulate this kind of digital personal data. So every single company in Singapore needs to be compliant with PDPA as well as PDPC. So you can search the Google and you will realize that both PDPA and PDPC has been established for more than 10 years. And the Personal Data Protection Act has gone through amendment in several years ago. So at least in Singapore, the regulation has become more and more complete, and the government has trying to very hard to protect our personal data. From companies' perspective, and privacy is also quite important, and it's a pillar stone to build user trust. One prominent example is from this Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. For those who are not familiar with this issue, basically several years ago, Facebook, there has been an application on Facebook where collects personal data for some use. But later on, it turns out that the personal data collected from this app has been used for political campaigns, which is kind of a violation and abuse of use of personal data. So it causes significant damage to Facebook, and Facebook has been fined a very big fine from the United States government. So from tech companies' perspective, privacy issue is also becoming increasingly important, and we should try really hard to build a more privacy-friendly application, and also make sure our application is compliant to all these regulations set up by different jurisdiction regions. Next slide, please. Yeah, so information privacy is becoming increasingly important throughout the journey and development of digital technologies. So you can imagine in the early stage of the digital world, there has been only public information, where in the Web 1.0 era, you can imagine the website is only, the internet only contains public information where people surf the internet and then read news and then read public information from companies, etc. But now we have already entered into an age where individuals can share their private information or public information and then contribute to the internet. So our personal world are increasingly entangled with the digital world. We have very different kinds of social medias. We have our bank accounts. We surf the internet. We also make purchasements on internet, like all those e-commerce, etc. So our personal life our personal information affects parts of our physical life. And this trend is becoming increasingly complicated. So you can imagine when the AR and VR technologies really come into real world, like Apple has already launched the Apple Vision Pro. So when these kind of technologies become more mature and into real product and market, you can imagine online personal information affects most of our physical life in the very near future. So since our information has been shared more and more, and you can imagine personal privacy and information privacy will become increasingly important. Next slide, please. Yeah, I hope so far I have laid out the foundation of why privacy is important, why information privacy is important, why personal data are becoming increasingly entangled with information privacy. So in the next topic, I'm going to share with you what is privacy enhancing technology in particular, and how this can benefit and better protect our personal data in the digital world. So here, I'm not going to share with you very concrete mathematical definitions. So I will take a very lightweight approach where I'll try to use metaphors to explain to you what is privacy enhancing technologies and how this can help us. So here I'm sharing with you this concrete example in the physical world. So here we have Alice holding her very precious raw jewelries, and she definitely wants to turn these raw jewelries and raw materials into shiny jewelries. But she, as an owner of these raw materials, she don't have the capabilities to turn them into more precious jewelries. And on the other hand, we have skilled workers like Bob who are able to turn these raw materials into precious jewelries. But Bob does not own these precious jewels. How can this be done without Alice sacrificing, without Alice handing over these kind of precious assets to Bob, and then Bob can still do the work of polishing and turning these kind of materials, either gold or diamonds, into increase the value of these kind of raw materials. How can this be done in the physical world? Next slide, please. Well, in reality, people have invented this very clever idea. So essentially, we have this kind of transparent box with gloves attached to it, and there's a lock where you can control whether the box can be opened or not. The way that can be done in the real world is that Alice will hold the key and lock of uh, this box, and then Alice can simply put her raw materials inside the box. And since Alice has the key to lock or unlock this box, so Alice can put the raw materials inside the box and then lock it, and then hand over this box which contains the raw materials to Bob. When the box has been handed over to Bob, then Bob can manipulate and polish this kind of raw materials through the gloves. But the essential idea is that Bob doesn't have the key, so Bob will not be able to take the precious raw materials uh, outside of the box. Yet, Bob can still leverage the tools being locked inside the box as well as the raw materials and perform all those polishment uh, and operations and make the raw materials more shiny. And after the work has been done, the whole box together with the uh, polished material will be handed over to Alice. And then Alice can use her key to unlock the box and then take the precious jewelry outside, and then that would be the best of the both worlds, where Alice can have her jewelries being turned into more shiny ones, and then Bob can have his job done and then receive payment from Alice, which both protects the assets from Alice, and then Bob can have this kind of job done. So PET technology, previous slides, please. So PET technology serves as this kind of very clever box, and we individual users act as artists, where we have our personal information, very precious personal information being the assets, like the raw jewelries. With these privacy enhancing technologies, we can have our tech companies make best use of our personal data without really hindering personal privacy. So we can still have tech companies make best use of our personal data to have targeted personal advertisement, make precise recommendations, better serve uh, individuals without really compromising individuals' privacy. So this is kind of illustrates at a very high level how privacy enhancing technology can help. Next slide, please. So there are many different kinds of privacy enhancing technologies in the world, and PI Lab have been researching into various different kinds of PET technologies. And here I will just very briefly go through several prominent examples of cryptographic-based PET techniques. Again, I'm not going to give you very detailed explanations, but just explain to you through some examples how this kind of technologies can be used in practice, and use some toy examples to showcase why this kind of PD techniques and how these PD techniques can help you build some privacy-friendly solutions in real use cases. Next slide, please. So this is one of the very widely discussed technologies in both academic and industry, which is called homomorphic encryption. And this is a new kind of encryption technologies that allows some sort of computation being carried over on encrypted data without decryption. So at a very high level, encryption is a way to seal your some sort of private data so that no one can really understand the encrypted data, and only the one who has the decryption key can be able to see the data. So it is kind of a way to protect private information. So traditionally, encryption simply seals all the information, and then the sealed information would be of no use for those who do not have the decryption key. Homomorphic encryption, on the other hand, is a new kind of technology which preserves the original use case of sealing information from those who do not have the decryption key. The nice thing of this homomorphic encryption is that not only information has been concealed, it still allows some sort of computation over this hidden information. So here is the idea shown in this kind of very fancy formula. So the idea is that we can still perform some sort of high-level computation denoted as a function f here. And the idea is that through homomorphic encryption, we can manipulate the encrypted data in a way that the operator does not even need to know the underlying plaintext being hidden in the ciphertext. The operation can be done such that the decryption would be the result of those computation. So you can see that the decryption of the operation results in the addition of A and B. And similarly, the decryption of the operation as the multiplication operation can result in A times B. So this is the nice thing of homomorphic encryption in a very high level mathematical formula. Next slide, please. So with this kind of fancy feature, you can envision how this homomorphic encryption can be used to build a very fancy applications. This is one example where a user can encrypt his or her personal data and then send it to some cloud. And then the cloud user can perform some sort of search or some sort of machine learning inferencing over this encrypted data, and then return the eventual result to the user. All this process will be done over the encrypted data so that the cloud doesn't even know what is the actual information from the users. And then from the user side, it receives the very useful search result or machine learning inferencing. And without the whole process will be done in a privacy preserving manner, since all the operations has been done over the ciphertext only. And this is actually the best of the both worlds, where the companies as the model owner can provide this kind of services, and then the user will be able to receive this kind of advanced services without compromising his or her personal privacy. The next slide, please. So another useful PET technology is called this private set intersection, and PSI for short. And this is kind of a cryptographic protocol or solution that can be executed between two parties. The two parties do not trust each other, so they don't want to share their personal information. And in this particular PET technology, it allows two mutually untrusted parties to compute the intersection of their private sets. A very prominent use case of this PSI is that for individuals, we have different passwords. We want to check whether our password has been leaked through some data breaches in some companies. Whereas companies like Google may host some compromised database, compromised password databases. For individual users, we definitely don't want to reveal our passwords to any kind of companies. Whereas for companies like Google or Meta, etc., they definitely don't want to share this kind of compromised password database that they have collected. Eventually, both parties would like to check whether the user's password has been leaked or not. And PSI is the exact PET solution tailored for this kind of concrete application, where we want to find the common items between two respective private database. But yet, none of the parties want to reveal anything that is not in common. And this protocol can also be used to find applications where individuals may have a contact list, and then social media companies may have a list of users already registered in social medias. And then the user and the company may want to figure out who are the common users that have not been known by the users, and then make recommendations to the users saying that, hey, your friends are also in this social media platform. Why not make friends through this social media platform, etc. So yeah, this kind of cryptographic technology can also be used by tech companies to build a more privacy-friendly feature. Next slide, please. Another useful technology is called secure multi-party computation, which you can think of it as a generalization of the privacy intersections technology I shared in the previous slides. So now we are not having just two parties who tries to hide their private inputs. Now we are involved in a multi-party setting where we can have a group of users. None of them want to share their private information, yet they want to jointly compute a function over their private inputs. So here we have an example where we have 5 different parties. We want to compute a very general function f over respective private inputs. And then, yeah, we want to simply compute this private input without leaking any residual information to individual parties. Next slide, please. So yeah, I share with you what some example of PET technologies and how these kind of PET technologies may help us to build more privacy friendly applications for the digital world. So TikTok in particular, we have trying to build more privacy friendly software applications, mobile applications, and then make our product more privacy friendly and also contribute to both the industry as well as the academic. To showcase, as a showcase in the subsequent sharing, I'm going to share with you one of our efforts that has been already been open sourced, and we welcome every single one of you to really try out and test it and also contribute to our open source project. And next slide, please. Yeah, so we have open sourced this piece of software, which is called PATACE, which is short for Privacy Enhancing Technology via Applied Cryptographic Engineering. The primary goal is to enable fast prototyping of ideas based on PET techniques. And you can Google it and check our GitHub repository. We have a link here. So this open source project is a long-term development project, and we plan to catch up with the state-of-the-art research results. And we have already open source some of our technological achievements, and we really welcome every single one of you to try it out. So in the following sharing, I will have a demo and share with you how to build and use this open source library. So next slide, please. Yeah, so we have a video recording, and you may take a look and see how this can be done in a very streamlined manner.
Hello everyone, this is TikTok PI Lab. Today I will show you how to build and use PATACE. We will start with an empty Docker image as an example. The Docker image is not necessary. You can also run it on your own computer. Okay. First, update the apt. Next, we need to install GCC. You can use this command. This will take some time. Be patient. We successfully installed GCC now. Next, we will install CMake. Next, we need to install Git. Now we need to set up our GitHub SSHK. First, generate an RSA key by using this command. And then upload this key to the GitHub. In here. Okay. Next, we will build paths to it. First, clone the code. And make a dictionary build. Then make. Okay, make. Okay, just install it. Then make. Be patient. This will take some time. All right, we are successful in building Duet. Then we will begin building the paths setups. First, git clone the code. Next, we will build JSON which is required to set up. Okay. Let's make it. Okay. Now we back to set up and build it. All right, we are successful in building setups. Next, we will give an example to show how to use it. We prepared a demo. You can find it on our GitHub page. It is here. Okay. Now open another command line. Okay, this simulates two different people. You can use this command to run the example. Sorry. Use this command. This demonstrates that Alice and Bob want to know who has the larger number and only let Alice know the result. Fine, Bob win. Other example can be found in our GitHub page. Next, we will provide an example to show how to use setups. We prepared a document that can be found on our GitHub page. Okay, here. First, you need to modify the JSON file by following the document. The file is here, and I had already modified it. Modify this line and this line. Sender will be also modified. Okay. Then back to build. And use this command. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's back to the data dictionary. Okay. Okay. It demonstrates that Alice and Bob both have a private site and want to know the intersection of their site. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Yeah, that basically wraps up our demo for how to use PetAce, our open source GitHub library. I think practice is our best teacher. So I highly encourage every single one of you to go to GitHub and then download it and follow our instructions on the README page, and then try to really try to install it and try it out. So in the slides, I listed all these kind of potential commands, but they are also in the README page. So feel free to immediately go to the GitHub page and then try it out. So for the sake of time, and we won't share every single commands here. So move on to the next slide, please. Yeah, we can jump over all these commands. Yeah, that basically wraps up my sharing today. So just to summarize, in today's sharing, we discussed what is privacy and why privacy is so important to every single one of us. And I also share with you what is privacy enhancing technology at a very high level, and share with you some of the prominent examples of privacy enhancing technologies that has been discussed extensively in both academic as well as industry. And I also share with you how these kind of PET techniques can be used to build more privacy-friendly mobile applications, desktop applications, etc. And I also share with you an open source project initiated by Privacy Innovation Lab at TikTok. So this is PetAce, and I share with you how you can build PetAce from scratch and then build some very simple applications as a more privacy-friendly feature, and then have a very simple demo for all of you. And with that, I would like to finish my sharing, and we welcome any questions from audiences. And yeah, that's the references. And if you are interested, you can take a look.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Yongjun, for your fruitful sharing today. And before we enter the Q&A sessions, just a quick reminder here. Well, we will keep you updated on the recording, and you can find our chatting code on the last page for the recording on our information doc. You can find the link inside our comments. Also, the GitHub page that from the Privacy Innovation Lab that Yongjun mentioned previously, I already shared the link inside our chat, and feel free to find all the useful reference there. And again, any question, please feel free to enter in the Q&A functions. We will answer it. We'll try to answer it later. And last but not least, as here for the 23rd May sessions is Wednesday. It's also related to the privacy and risk management, but the session will not be a Zoom webinar here, as all of our speakers for that sessions will be from different time zones. So a recording video for this session will be provided on the 23rd May 6:30 itself in our Telegram group, also our information doc. So please keep an eye here. So I will hand back the mic to Yongjun to answer the burning questions. So the first question I try to read through it for Yongjun is from one of our students. Does the team witness research activity in the hacking set where hackers try to outdo the cryptographic innovation and other measures that the team takes to protect the users?
Oh, I think this is a very good question. Maybe I should answer this in a more general and broad perspective. So there is no silver bullet, no single technology that can solve the whole problem. As I share with all of you in the slides, privacy is really a very big topic, and in order to protect privacy in a very comprehensive manner, cryptography alone may not be sufficient. So there's definitely cases where hackers try various means using their imaginations or technologies to really conduct this kind of hackings. And I think in general, in the industry, we have witnessed quite some examples. So really, that also motivates further research into these PET technologies, and which is also why one of the mission of TikTok is to reach out to different researchers, engineers, both academic as well as industry, to really try to advance the technologies to the very next step and the next level, so that with the efforts from every single one in the community, we can try to build a more comprehensive, privacy-friendly products in the world. So very short summary, there's definitely cases where hackers try to outdo some basic fundamental technologies, and we do need to synergize different technologies and work together and build a more comprehensive and complete solution.
Thank you, Yunjun. Thank you so much for the answers. I think it's quite interesting. So I think it's quite interesting. So I think we are coming to the end of today's session since we have limited question here. Also, we're basically running out of the time. So thank you so much for all the participants. Please feel free to find the chatting QR code here at the very bottom of your right hand corner inside the last page. So if you are interested in this course, please feel free to keep an eye. We still have like 2 upcoming sessions. The first one, namely, will be Wednesday this week after the public holiday, 6:30, is something related to the privacy and risk management as well. And the last but not least, the last session will be next Thursday, which we will keep update the recording with a timetable for all the follow-up sessions in our information doc. So for today's session, thank you all for your participants. Please feel free to drop off the call and we will end the session in 1 minute. Thank you, guys. If you didn't chat in yet, please feel free to chat in. Don't forget to chat in. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys. Yungjun, feel free to drop off the call. We will end the session. No worries. Thank you, Yungjun. Thank you again.